There we go. I restarted the recorder. And this can be a standalone piece, or it can actually be part of what we have just been talking about between Andy Peacher and myself. Andy, of course, is in the UK, and being a foreign national and me being here in the United States, the powers that be do monitor your communications when you are talking with somebody that's out of the United States, and we have been disconnected. We were talking, having a great time, and talking about various things, and we, of course, have been disconnected. So let me go on with this particular story that is a big bugaboo with a lot of people. And that is this. Somebody has filed a class action lawsuit to stop smart meters. This is from naturalnews.com. Naturalnews.com. This was written on Wednesday, August 7, 2013 by Lloyd Burrell. The story starts like this. Smart meters, aka wireless utility meters, even though they have never been tested for their effect on human beings, are now being rolled out on a massive scale to measure a household's electricity, gas, and water usage all across the country and around the globe. Here is my commentary on this. And Andy may actually still be watching the screen broadcast on the internet, so he can have a comment on what I'm talking about right here. Look, people, the whole idea behind these smart meters is control. The NSA spying is control. Regulation and rules that have food prices rising is control. The entire healthcare fiasco is control. The price of fuel is control. It's all control, and it's control on a global scale that no olden-time despot ruler would dream of. This is global control. The so-called smart meters are yet another set of controls. They can shut off your power remotely. They can see if you're home or not. They can deduce what you're doing at any one time. AKA smart meters, or AKA wireless utility meters, even though never tested for their effect on human beings, are now being rolled out on a massive scale. The person that is filing this lawsuit is Nomi Davis, who has said enough. Enough of being coerced and intimidated by a company that has no regard for freedom of choice or living a life without fear and risk of possible dire health consequences. Davis, a fed-up homeowner who resides in Salt Spring Island, Vancouver, this is in Canada, has taken action against the British Columbia Hydro and Power Authority to demand freedom of choice for all British Columbia Hydro customers. Davis's class action lawsuit, filed in July 25th of this year, addresses BC Hydro's attempt to remove their customers' basic civil rights by using coercive tactics in order to implement their rigid smart meter installation program. There is a CNET article that is right here. This article uses data that is paid for by the utility industry, so don't expect them to raise red flags. This study is called Smart Meter Radio Frequency Emissions Are Low. And this is the Electric Power Research Institute that did this particular study. And they are a consortium of utilities that produce electricity. And this article says here, this is from 2011 actually. With millions of smart meters projected to be installed, opponents have raised concerns over the health impact from the radios inside these two-way meters. But let's take a look at these meters. There are a couple of things that you need to be aware of first. First is this PDF file that is going to be coming up on the screen right here. That's the second one. This one is a study that was paid for by the government, RF exposure in smart meter systems. Various smart meter systems work by transmitting information wirelessly. The FCC has jurisdiction over the approval and use of radio frequency devices. This article says, this PDF file, this study, says that the FCC is aggressively enforcing the output of these smart meters. Now, if we go over here to this particular document right here, this is put out by the Naperville Smart Grid Initiative. Naperville, Illinois, produces their own electricity. The utility is owned by the city and thus by the taxpayers. This is a city-controlled utility. No utility company has authority over it, and they produce their own electricity. They have done a study on the signal strength of smart meters, and they say that, let me see here, go over here and do that. They say that smart meter signal strength drops by a factor of 4 every time you double the distance from the meter. They also have a chart here of various pieces of equipment and their output and the danger to human beings. As you can see, a cell phone or a microwave oven is much more dangerous than the smart meter itself, according to these people in Naperville, Illinois. Let's go back here, right here. I have already read you a bunch of this stuff, and the industry group, the Electric Power Research Institute, released the results of tests that show the radio frequency emissions of one smart meter fall well below the federal safety threshold. Someone has to ask themselves, what if you have multiple meters, like in an apartment complex or in your neighborhood or in your condominium? One of the things that I have to do when covering a story that isn't a commentary piece is research. Research, research, research. You cannot be afraid of finding information that is contrary to your particular belief set. Not everything is a conspiracy designed to kill you and your family. You have to go from that point of view. Otherwise, you just wind up becoming a shill for any one particular group or conspiracy. You have to keep an open mind. Some of the things that I've found out is that a lot of websites will tell you that the figures given of how much the meters transmit is falsified. Much like computer networks, which is what they are, they operate in a mesh network configuration. Traffic has to be spaced and timed. The most efficient way to do that is with regulated transmit times. They do not explain, however, how 20 meters on the same street pull this off without causing data collisions. This is what happens on a network. When you have, say, two computers on a network trying to do the same thing at the same time, you have data collisions and therefore errors, and that's what makes a computer network slow down. They have done the tests, and the smart meters don't transmit continuously. They only send a short burst, and it is a mesh network. And they all go to a central receiver that sends the information to the utility. And you can go on your utility's website, and you can actually see your electric usage after a 15 or 20-minute delay that it takes to transmit that to the electric company. Now let's talk about smart meters just a little bit. Smart meters operate on a 902 to 928 megahertz frequency, and their antenna works in a mesh network configuration. It transmits between you, your neighbors' homes, and a repeater infrastructure before it goes to the utility company. It does this using a pulsed electromagnetic radio frequency, RF, 24 hours a day. This two-wave antenna gives the utility the ability to shut off your power remotely. That is where the control comes in. The pulses last for a very short time, usually once every 15 minutes for a second or so. The second antenna, and this is one of the ones that gets people in, that gets their panties in a knot. The second antenna uses the 2.4 gigahertz range and is designed to operate with a home area network, or a HAN network. The HAN communicates with new RF-enabled smart appliances such as refrigerators, washing machines, dryers, dishwashers, air conditioners, water heaters, and more appliances. With an activated hand, the utility company can have the ability to turn on or off any appliance in the home when they need extra power. That's where the control comes in. For instance, let me give you an example. In my particular case, I have a condition called neurocardiogenic syncope that requires me to be in a controlled atmosphere. I cannot be too cold. I cannot be too hot. It is required for my physical survival. I will have severe ramifications to my body if I get too hot or too cold. Now, the electric company wants to shut off my air conditioner in the summer. That's fine. They are now putting my life at risk. So I have to ask, when they shut off my air conditioning in the summer, why are you trying to kill me? That's what you'll have to ask when you have a medical condition like that. They don't care. They don't give a crap. You can scream and shout all you want. The only thing they'll do is target you in the end. That is control. There are also natural gas wireless meters. They operate in the 450 to 470 megahertz frequency band using a one-way transmitter. Now, in my research of this is what I have found. There is a lot of radio chatter or RF chatter flying around. Some say that this will kill you. These smart meters, they are doing massive harm to people. They hurt you a lot. Look at it this way. The electric wiring in your house produces an RF signal, as does your television, computer monitor, your car, the traffic light sensors, the power lines overhead, the power lines under the ground, your home wireless network, your cordless phone, your cell phone, the weather radar, the radar at the airport, the sonic and radar sensors in the cars going by and the cars you ride in, the radio of the police car driving down the street, the AM radio station in town, the FM radio station in town, the television stations, the CB radios, your smart appliances, the satellites overhead that use radar to transmit your satellite television signal. You are bombarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year by radio waves, RF interference, radar, and a multitude of other signals wafting through the air. And we're supposed to believe that the smart meter on your house that transmits once every 15 minutes is the biggest killer of them all. The real killer is the control that is held over your head. How about that? How about the government, which is supposed to be so small that you don't even know it exists, controlling your life? How about that damn danger? Instead of creating websites that scream about how the smart meter is going to fry your brain, apparently that one little extra signal is just enough to tip the delicate balance of bombarding signals coursing through your brain and will turn you into a vegetable if you're not careful. How about we all go to our national capitals all over the world and take these sage advice, these sage words of advice by our guest commentator tonight, Mr. Howard Beale. Howard?
Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
And that was our guest commentator for the evening, Mr. Howard Beale. Thank you, Howard. We appreciate your input into the stuff that is going on with the smart meters and the control. Just another little aspect of control in your lives. Your smart meters. that the powers that be can shut off at a moment's notice, or they can see what you're doing at home by the electric usage, or they can communicate with your appliances, find out what's in them, what you have your appliance set for. Oh, you've got your appliance set a little bit too cold. We'll go ahead and change that for you, because there's no reason why you should have the temperature set at 40 degrees. 50 degrees would be fine. What do you mean you want your milk to last a week? Just buy a pint of milk. We'll tell you how much milk to buy and what kind of milk and what you can put in your freezer and everything else, and whether or not you can turn your freezer on or off or have it as cold as you want. Well, let me tell you something. My stand-up freezer, my big freezer that we have here in the house, it's not a smart refrigerator or a smart freezer, and I keep that damn thing at 20 degrees below frickin' zero just because I can. I pay for the electricity. We pay for the electricity. You know, it's up to us how much electricity we use or not use. It's not up to the government, and it's not up to the utility. We pay the utility to make electricity and to supply it to us. How I use the electricity that I purchase with my hard-earned money is up to me, not them. Anyways, the next big evil boogeyman is now the discussion forum and online chats. Apparently, that's where a lot of terrorism starts, according to the central government, which is why we now have to watch what we say, because remember, free speech is a privilege, not some dusty old constitutional right. Let's take a look at this. This comes from AboveTopSecret.com. This is a discussion that has been engaged in online. The propaganda war against us. The first shot is fired. In secretive chat rooms and encrypted internet message boards, Al-Qaeda fighters have been planning and coordinating attacks, including a threatened vague plot that U.S. officials say closed 19 diplomatic posts across Africa and the Middle East for more than a week. For years, extremists have used online forums to share information and drum up support, and over the past decade they have developed systems that blend encryption programs with anonymity software to hide their tracks. That's garbage. Jihadist technology may now be so sophisticated and secretive, experts say, that many communications avoid detection by the National Security Agency programs that were designed to uncover terror plots like out-of-control rodeo clowns. The article's title might give you a clue in one potential substitution. There is, this is an AP story that was picked up at Yahoo News. Online forums provide key havens for terror plots. The article's title might give you a clue into one possible substitution. People that use online forums. Given that everyone listening to me and reading these words, wherever you read them, is in fact on a alternative news, conspiracy, or discussion forum website. So we are now prime targets. Now, you might not be aware that the NDAA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act, changed a very vital paradigm in the recent past. It legalized the use of propaganda by the government domestically. This is no small issue. It means that ethics and accountability are now totally gone. Any and all lies told to us can be categorized as propaganda for the good of national security. Think about that for just a moment. And this article at AboveTopSecret.com, this post on the discussion forum, says the following: I believe that this news story, as well as others, carry the footprints of a propaganda operation, and this is meant to marginalize and demonize anyone who might, in their search for the truth, come across an online forum such as Above Top Secret or Godlike Productions. I further believe that this may be the first step in seeking to censor interactive discussion sites. In other words, what they want to do is they want to keep us from communicating. So go out and buy a carrier pigeon, some paper airplanes, a kite, or use an alternative method of communication. And I should do a show about that in the near future. And there we go.